Man, I'm not gonna lie, Bernie, man. I would trade Tatum for Chet.
You would trade Shannon for. I mean, you have that right now live on stream.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I honestly think he would long term be. He has more upside, I think.
Think he has more upside.
Yeah, I honestly just his length and his shot. The only thing is him being a little too aggressive on the defensive end. I don't know if that could become a problem and him getting in foul trouble. But if he could kind of stay away from trying to be so much of a defender, I think he can be a 27 points per game scorer in a couple years. Yeah, I honestly do.
Okay.
If he just
Yeah.
plays his game.
All right, everybody, we are back. I do apologize that it just kept crashing. I just had to restart. Make sure that I'm plugged in to make sure the Ethernet cord was all right. Been having a little bit of issues there, so I just want to make sure that we're good there. But it seems like we're okay for now, so we're gonna just talk about it. I lowered a little bit of the quality stream, so I do apologize if the stream is not in the 4K or even just the 1080 that you're used to. But I think it's just for the best of the stream and just the quality. I think there's just a lot of internet users right now that are just hogging the Wi-Fi and hogging the gigabytes and the megabytes and whatever else type of bytes that are being taken up. So I do apologize that the stream is a little bit lower quality. But nevertheless, Tyrese, I brought you in here. We're going to talk about this shade that Jeanie Buss has been throwing to people when it comes
Talk about it.
this tweet that she came up with. So she hasn't tweeted in a while. I think the last tweet that she had before this one came up was talking about just kind of like the Women's of Wrestling reboot type of thing. We're talking about women in sports. Obviously a cool thing to see. But the next tweet that she had, and this is what had a lot of the NBA Twitter fans and especially Laker fans talking about, is she taking a shot at a certain superstar? So this is what Jeanie Buss tweet says. It says, I miss Kobe Bryant. He would understand and explain everything that I'm not allowed to. Honestly, he was the greatest Laker ever. He understood the team over self, meaning your rewards would come if you value the team goals over your own, then everything would fall into place. All can reply. So, Tyrese, I need your expert opinion. I need your help and your opinion. Who is Jeanie talking to? Is she throwing shade at the King?
I do think she is throwing shade at LeBron. I think it's starting to become a little bit too much for her. She's not really a person, she got handed down everything from Dr. Buss. She's not, she can't handle all the pressure. And I think his demands are starting to work her nerves a little bit. He probably even wants her to go over the cap, but she probably thinks that's too risky. But yeah, I think that's a shot at him clearly because all can reply, So totally. I think, she probably seen how Kobe was to her father and the organization management. And compared to LeBron, it's like night and day. He's demanding so much, and it's really going to show now what they're made of. They want to ring in the bubble. Okay, that's
Right.
cool, but now it's a real environment, a hostile environment. So you got to put your money where your mouth is to acquire talent. And I'm not sure she's willing to take that risk because, she knows he's up in age. He's 38, right? AD's unhealthy. He's not reliable. He also saying things like he hasn't touched a basketball since April. So I think it's starting to bring a lot of pressure on her and in management and the front office. But I just don't like how she tweeted that out. She should have kept that in-house because now it's going to be a lot of issues. Now, I think if things go south and they don't get Kyrie on what he wants and they start off slow, I think you can see LeBron possibly one out. I think he's over her. I think the way how she handled last year, the last 2 years, on not acquiring talent and them just trying to take the cheap route, I think if they don't turn it around quick, I think he could demand a trade. As crazy as that sounds, I honestly do. I think it's really deep. In my opinion, that's what I think.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let me read Sean's quote really quick. He says, I don't think it's direct to LeBron. I feel like it's all the drama in general with AD being in street clothes, Westbrook being a diva, and guys like Magic quitting on the organization. So here's what
Yeah, go ahead.
so here's what I'll say about it. I really don't think that this quote is directed at LeBron James because I think when it comes to this quote, and I agree with you 100% about it, you as the leader and kind of the main person of the organization,
Yeah.
you need to keep this in house, right? This is not something, especially you can say you miss Kobe Bryant. You can talk about like I miss the way he's competitive and all this other stuff, but the other things that you add to it, right? She talked about he would understand and explain everything that I'm not allowed to. So there might be some stuff behind the scenes, and to me, and I talked about this with Jeanie Buss numerous on occasions. She is so willing to defer everything to other people, especially when it comes to Kurt Rambis, who, again, probably a nice guy. Not sure if he's really a great general manager. You have Rob Pelinka, a Kobe Bryant guy, but at the same time, is kind of a guy that's looking for his own agenda, pushing his own narrative. I'm not a big fan of Rob Pelinka in that sense. I think he does do some decent moves, and he obviously did to get AD. But at the same time, I think that he is a little bit of a snake in the grass when it comes to the organization. And then you have all this stuff talking about meaning the rewards will come to you if you value team goals over your own, then everything would fall into place. I think, to me, if there was a player that she was directing a shot at, I really think that she's directing a shot at Russell Westbrook. Because when it comes to Russell Westbrook, when it comes to him as a player, he's not a player that will particularly be so much a team guy, right? We talked about all the awards that he's won, the MVPs, the back-to-back MVPs, and things like, I'm not sure if he won back-to-back, but I know he won 2.
Yeah, he did win 2, yeah. Not back-to-back, I don't think.
And when it comes to that, those are individual awards. Those are awards that Russell Westbrook did. And when it comes to really being the guy for a team, you can definitely see that Russell Westbrook is not going to push himself to be a team guy. And we saw that last year with the amount of shots that he missed, with the amount of offensive woes and struggles that the Lakers had. I think that this was more so a directed shot at Russell Westbrook because I think that she's frustrated that you're paying a guy $47 million. And again, I'm never mad at a guy for taking his money, and I will make that clear and obvious for everybody that's watching this video or will watch in the future. I will never be mad at a guy for taking his money, but when it comes to knowing yourself and looking yourself in the mirror and saying, okay, yes, this is how I got here, but now this is my 3rd team in 3 years. I need to figure it out so I can be a useful asset for them and be able to help out the team. And I just don't think that that's Russell Westbrook's style. And so, again, when it comes to Jeanie Buss, she should not have tweeted this out. We've seen her tweet out a lot of different things, a lot of different times. She continues to do this sort of kind of a LeBron James-esque route, right? Where she'll subtweet at people. She won't really come out and say, like, hey, I'm having an issue with this person, right? Because if you do that, then it'll be an issue in the locker room. It'll be an issue in the organization. And so I think that this, to me, makes it seem like I really do think that Jeanie Buss has been a poor owner for the Lakers, right? Even though they won a championship, and again, I'm not going to be one of those people that says, "Oh, it was a bubble championship. I don't count it." But what I will say is that for an organization again that is trying to become, right now they're tied with the Boston Celtics for most championships in the NBA, even though most of those are for Minneapolis championships. I will say that, but nevertheless, you're competing with the Celtics for most championships, and you want to be the team that says, I have the most championships ever. And so for the Lakers to get back to that thing, they obviously need to get younger. They need to get a lot more athletic. They did that this offseason. I like some of their pickups that they made, especially the Lonnie Walker. I think that was a good one.
Yeah.
They got Thomas Bryant. I am okay with that. Not sure if that makes the most sense, but at the same time, the Lakers are starting to make some moves, but Jeanie Buss needs to be a stronger leader, stronger owner, and say, when to put the foot down, when to say, hey, this is what I want. This is exactly what I need. That's going to be the interesting situation. And before you go again, Tyrese, let me just read Sean's tweet. Or sorry, I don't know why I call it a tweet. A comment. Sean said, the magnitude of this tweet makes it seem like it's about LeBron, but that's people forgetting Westbrook was the superstar and sucking up on the max, complaining. All right, Tyrese. All you. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I kind of agree now with the analysis I just kind of did. Like I kind of do think it's kind of aimed at Russell Westbrook, but then again, I think it's kind of aimed at all of them, right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think like how you said, right? Like they're paying him $47 million a year. I'm not sure if they're over the cap, but they're probably damn near over the luxury tax.
I'll take a
Um,
look while you talk.
but yeah, I think she's a person who's always done something like that. I mean, she's the same girl. She's the same lady who tweeted like in 2012 that Kevin Love was hot and everything, right? Like she's scared to speak in person. She said numerous other things too, like on Twitter, but she doesn't really say anything to like people's faces. It seems like
Mm-hmm.
she's more of a like LeBron is. Like she just tweets. But that I agree though. I think that should have been kept.
Oh, I think we lost you. Dang it. Hang on, Tyrese. I think we lost you. Um, but yeah, oh, there you go. I think you're back.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back now.
Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, so yeah, I was just saying, like, I think she should have kept that in house, but I think also she needs to step down as owner, and maybe become some type of other role or just own majority of her stake still. But I don't think she should really oversee what Rob is doing and approving and disapproving because it seems like they they should have won another championship already. I mean, they have the talent. I honestly think I honestly think they just quit, dude, because I think there's not a real voice within that organization how Jeanie Buss was and like how Phil Jackson was back then. And then too, LeBron, he's not really even, caring about, I wouldn't say necessarily winning, but holding a lot of guys accountable how he did back in the day because he's down there at the end, right? So I think now he can't really tell guys who are 33, 30 years old, like, hey, come on, guys, like come on, you guys got to work harder. I just think they need a fresh face as the owner on overseeing things. But
Yeah. I think the concern for the Lakers when I look at their roster is that right now they're 60 million under the cap. Sorry, over the cap. So right now
yeah, over.
they don't have that much money to operate and make some moves. And so that's a concern when you think about what they're trying to do. Obviously, they're going to have to do a lot of trading. That makes the most sense. I just think the frustrating thing about the LA Lakers is, like you said, they definitely are a team last year where I will admit I picked them to win the championship.
I knew it was going to be a disaster. Remember, I called it.
Yeah,
yeah.
And it just came down to again the fact that Anthony Davis cannot stay healthy, and that's a concern when it comes to LA Lakers. Not only front office, but also people that love the team. He can't stay healthy. LeBron James obviously cannot be the guy to carry your team each and every night, especially in the regular season. And so you're gonna need that third guy, that other guy, to help you out along with AD. And the fact that when it comes all down to it, LeBron James was just playing with a lot of Island of Misfit toys. They had a lot of veterans that they picked up. I thought some of them pickups were not bad, but they didn't show up. And none of them really played their role that they were supposed to. And this again leads to another frustrating season for the LA Lakers, wasting another year of LeBron James, wasting another year of, can this guy be a good player for you? And if I'm LeBron James, 1 year left on my deal, I don't know if I want to re-sign with you. I
think
I get frustrated if I was LeBron James.
Yeah, I think he is frustrated, and it's kind of hard to try to move guys who are injury prone, right, and who aren't exceeding to their expectations, like Russell Westbrook. So it's kind of hard to move these guys now. Russell Westbrook was doing what he did in OKC. They can for sure swap with Kyrie Irving and make the salary match, right? But it's too much of a risk. They honestly, what they should do is try to go after like a guy like DeMar DeRozan, a guy who's kind of like a combo guard a little bit. It seems like LeBron always did very well, such as like Kyrie Irving. Kyrie to me is like a combo kind of guard, like he, two guard / point guard. I think DeRozan would be perfect because he could kind of distribute and he can shoot and kind of slash and aggressive. Yeah. I think that's a guy they should try to go after and see if San Antonio will unload him. Or is he still with San Antonio? Yeah, right?
Which guy?
DeMar DeRozan.
No, he's with the Bulls.
Yeah, the Bulls, excuse me. I think they should try to swap and see if they can get him. But other than that, to me, LeBron worked best when you always have a combo guard such as D Wade and Kyrie.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of got lucky with AD, but I think he needs another combo guard like a DeMar to really unlock it. How he really is. But bottom line is, man, I think they got to really. I think they should just try to start over and blow it up, man. I honestly do. Before it really gets ugly, man. AD's already starting to get really injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
Remember I said they should have traded him last year before the season started. Now they're going to get pennies on a dollar for him because of his injuries. So it's going to be really tough. LeBron's getting older. Russell Westbrook isn't performing. They're kind of like their tires are dragging in the mud, man. And I'm not sure if they can get out the ditch.
Yeah.
And they're way over cap too. That's a scary thing because you could sell. They don't want to come to the game if you're not winning. I mean, you're probably going to still have fans come because it's cheap tickets and it's the Lakers. But as far as merch and everything, and it's if they don't fix it quick, it's going to be looking like how it did when Jordan Clarkson and all them were there. Yeah, man, I just think they need to blow it up. I honestly do before it's too late and they can't get any type of great assets for it for the type of players they have in a couple of years if they don't change it now.
Yeah. I think for me, when it comes down to everything, Sean, you are right that the Westbrook contract was not a great one to pick up, but at the same
but everybody back then thought he was worth the $46 million because back-to-back MVPs, right? Or even the one he won, triple-double king. Like psychologically, you're like, okay, this is our only guy. We're going to pay him whatever he wants. But now looking back at it, it's like, damn, it was a bad investment. But at the time, I think pretty much any GM or any team owner would give him a $200 and some million deal at that time.
Yeah, and I mean, you also have to look at the Anthony Davis contract. Again, I think that for me, when it comes down to everything, obviously the Westbrook contract is a big sight for sore eyes. But at the same time, you can use that contract. Again, there's been multiple rumors that Kyrie Irving to the Lakers is going to be a possible thing.
I don't see that happening.
I think it can happen, man. I never doubt LeGM. I think LeGM can get some stuff done.
Man.
But what I think is going to be the issue for the Lakers is kind of the rest of their team. I mean, we look at the team right now, 12 active players on the roster. Obviously, Scottie Pippen Jr. is balling right now. And so I'm excited about that. I think that that's going to be something good. Sean said that the Wizards trade may be the worst of all time. The Lakers team would have had so much better with KCP, Kuz, and Harrell. I mean, at the end of the day, you had 2 years of that. 1 year, you had KCP, Kuz, and Harrell, and they obviously did not. I think they got into the playoffs. LeBron lost in the first round. I think that probably would have been better than just having Westbrook. But at the same time, I've always been kind of confused with KCP. I think he thinks he's a combo guard and not just a spot-up shooter. And I think he just needs to be a spot-up shooter. I don't know why he's worried about anything else. And so I think for the Lakers to be successful going from here on out, they're going to have to make some huge moves and huge decisions that have to be made. Because the rest of the roster right now, besides, Horton Tucker, who's not a bad player for them, Lonnie Walker, again, I like him. The question mark comes down the line. Does Damian Jones give you something? Does Geno Jones give you something? Does Troy Brown Jr. give you something? They got Juan Toscano Anderson. Does he give you something? Austin Reeves, obviously kind of a good role player for them, but that's what you're going to have to figure out. And Kendrick Nunn, we still, he was a great player for Miami, never played for the Lakers all season for an injury that seemed so suspect because he was supposed to be back, relatively quick, and he just never did. He never came back for the season.
Yeah, I just think that we all know they can make the playoffs if they're healthy. I think it's to the point to where if these guys will show up in the playoffs, right? Because you're naming guys like Lonnie Walker. These are guys who are still kind of young, who've never really been in playoff games before, and tight games, and coming off the bench. And they need more veteran players. How he kind of did in Cleveland when he was there. I don't think I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to get some young talent, but you need vets. When you're talking about Western Conference or semis, you're going to need guys who've been to the playoffs, who've had key contributive roles, and in games in the playoffs. These are guys who have never been there,
Mm-hmm.
so it's going to be kind of hard. I don't care if they get Kyrie with AD, because you can have three guys, but if you don't have a bench, you're screwed. Now, and two, like they don't really have any great defenders. They should have went after Patrick Beverly, to be honest.
We'll see if he goes
I'm
into
I'm
the.
pretty.
We'll see if he goes to the
I,
market after. I don't know if the Utah Jazz are going to keep him or release him.
they're probably gonna release him, but then again, I don't know. Utah needs tickets, and they need controversy. He loves to get the spotlight on him, and Rudy's out of town, so he can kind of be the entertainment for him. But they should have went after him. I know they were in those type of meetings when he was up for grabs in the bid. They should have went after Patrick. They need the defenders, man. They have no dogs on that team. So at all. They're not beating Golden State. They're not beating Phoenix, right? They're not even probably beating the Timberwolves. So, and they're not beating Memphis. So even if they do get Kyrie Irving, they're not beating them in a 7-game series, in my opinion. They're going to have to get role players because there's only one ball. And it's going to go back to the same thing with Russell Westbrook when he got there. If Kyrie gets there, but worse, it's going to be dramatic and it's going to be hell. They can't go for him. They should try to call up Utah and see if they can get a guy like Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson and some role players and trade Russell Westbrook before I get Kyrie Irving. Because those are guys that are going to give me 16 to 17 points a night, and they've been in the playoffs. They're vets. You know what I'm saying? Like something like that. They can't just go for the big fish. Get role players who are consistent, who've been in the playoffs, who knows what it takes.
Yeah. Here's what I will say. The good news for the Lakers is that they're finally off the Luol Deng contract. It's finally over. Last year was the final year that they paid him off. Hey, man, congrats to Luol Deng for absolutely getting his bread without playing basketball. I love it. Got $5 million last year. Really quick, I'm going to use the restroom. Tyrese, you kind of entertain for a second. I got to use the restroom. Try maybe answer Sean's questions really quick.
Yeah, I'll answer the chat right now. Awesome. So yeah, I think this roster can make the playoffs. The contracts are that bad. There's literally no talent in depth. Yeah, I think they can make the playoffs. It comes down to the point, Sean, to where how far, right? Because they're not playing just for playoffs. They're playing for championships, or at least to get to the finals. Anything below that is not up to expectation. So I think you have to go back and say, hey, did we get a guy who's, our three guys are going to put up numbers, but we're not going to be able to defend guys. Come on, they're not going to be able to beat the Warriors if they get Irving. They need role players. Guys like Lou Williams, Patrick Beverly, they need guys like that. They can't afford to keep getting these guys who are so-called superstars who have egos and who need the ball in their hands 24/7. They need to start moving the ball around how they had it in 2020. In my opinion. Yeah, Bradley Beal's contract does have a no trade clause. I think the Wizards, they're at a point to where they're just trying to offer the guy anything they can, even if it's $250 million, right? Like they'll go up for anything for him. They have nothing. No one's trying to come to DC. The market's small. So, hey, kudos to him for securing the wealth. But I think he's going to be out of there sooner or later, in my opinion.
All right, I'm back.
Yep.
Okay. So kind of just finishing off this Laker discussion. Again, it came to the original point of Jeanie Buss taking shots at potentially LeBron James, potentially Russell Westbrook, potentially maybe Rob Pelinka or potentially Rich Paul from Clutch Sports. And so I think that for the Lakers, they need to figure out how to be less dramatic. But
Yeah.
the problem with
Well,
that
you
is
have
that
a
you're in LA,
female.
man. You're in LA.
Yeah, and then you have a woman running the or nothing against like that, but you know, come on, like it's going to be dramatic. So I just think she's not the person to oversee things, man. Like I honestly do. I just think that she needs to step down. She just doesn't have the kudos to tell Rob, do a damn better job, or to say to people's, call them into the office and have a talk. She's just not that. She's not that type of CEO.
Yeah.
She'll rather go on social media and explain how she's feeling. To whereas if that was Jeanie, if that was her dad, her father, he would probably pull them in the office. So it's difference between them. So yeah, I just think without them being real with one another inside the organization, it's going to be chit chat behind back and forth
Mm-hmm.
and rumors, and it's just not going to be well, and it's going to affect their game. So until they're being real with one another, it's not going to go anywhere for the Lakers. I think they're going to be floating around 500, maybe sneak into the playing game, and then who knows what can happen. But they got to get role players, man. It's going to start with role players. Honestly, they need to get depth.
Yeah, they definitely do, and I think that they're gonna probably start to look for it. Excuse me. They're gonna start
Yeah.
looking for it this off season, and they definitely have to before the season starts. I think I like Scottie Pippen Jr. Again, is he gonna be a guy that starts for them? Probably not, but I do like the fact that the Lakers continue to find these guys in the second round or free agents and just try to like
Let
bring
me
them
tell
in.
you this. Yeah. Do
Sorry.
you think that was Jeanie Buss pulling that move on getting Sharif and Scottie Pippen Jr.? It just seems I don't know, man. Like for a championship team trying to win who needs talent, I wouldn't be signing walk-ons, man. Like I don't know. Like I just feel like I don't know, man. I feel like it's just all about filling up tickets, selling tickets and things with Jeanie. I honestly do. Because those moves, like, I understand they're rookies, right? But they're not gonna play. So it's like it's like you're wasting your. I don't know. I honestly think, man, they just need to clean the house already. They
I
need to
think.
clean the house already. They won their championship. That's
Mhm.
great. Not every team can win one in every 4 or 10 years. They need to get all the assets they can get ASAP, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to for all of this is to me, the fact that I think that obviously it's a favor to obviously Shaquille. I think for especially for Sharif, I think it was a favor from Shaquille O'Neal. Again, I don't hate it. I loved what I saw from him. It wasn't like he's
Yeah.
it's not like he doesn't belong in the
He would
summer
be
league.
great for the future, but let's just be real. They still have Wayne Gabriel, Troy Brown, Juan Toscano. These guys aren't going to come off the bench and be consistent. There maybe a regular season game, a high anticipated. Maybe they can try to do something. Maybe, but when it comes down to the playoffs and palms are sweaty, they're going to be on the bench collecting dust. So it's kind of like the only thing I can think of is they're gearing up for a big trade, whether that's Kyrie or
I think it's
multiple
Kyrie.
players.
I think it's Kyrie. I think Kyrie's coming to LA, man.
I don't know. I honestly don't
The
think
Nets are
LeBron
done.
wants to gamble. I
The
honestly think, honestly though, if they're going after him, they damn near might as well go after KD because
K
you're going to be spending about the same of assets. So why not give up a little bit more and getting Kevin Durant?
Hey, Westbrook and AD for KD and Kyrie. That's coming.
I think the league would veto that. I'm not going to lie to you.
The league
If,
would veto
if
it, even though they let the Kevin Durant to the Warriors happen.
Yeah, but when you're swapping two guys like that who already have chemistry, Kyrie and KD, with LeBron, that would get shot down quick, I think. But to go back to what I was saying, I think they should try to get KD, man. I wouldn't touch Kyrie. I wouldn't touch it, even though KD's kind of a diva too. He's a talented player, and he can put
Mm-hmm.
up he can put on a show. right? He can put on a show. He can rally you back. He's not scared of the big moment. He's won before.
Yeah.
If I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to get Kevin Durant, and I'm willing to give up Katie, Horton Tucker, Stanley Johnson. I'm willing to give up all these guys because I think he's worth it more than Kyrie. Why? It makes no sense. You better off going for Kyrie. I mean for KD, right?
Yeah, but it depends on what KD wants to do, right? Because KD is a different.
KD owns a house out here.
Everyone knows a house out here.
Yeah, I understand that, but
there.
he's always out. He's always out here in the summertime though. So it it makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think, and then two, they're already up in age already. He's what, 33, 34?
34.
You don't think he would want to? Yeah, 33. You don't think he would want to finish his career playing with LeBron, and you don't think LeBron would want to finish his career at least playing with KD at least 1 year? Or shit, who knows? Maybe they just want to test it out, and if it doesn't work, he still has 4 years on his deal, and we can ship him out and get a whole bunch of assets.
Yeah.
I think he already played with Kyrie. I think he wants to play with KD. I honestly do. Because he knows if he gets KD, that's his highest chance on getting a championship, especially if they can keep AD. Oh, man. Nobody's beating them.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens, man. I think that for this stuff, we'll figure out like what moves are going to be made, and that's a perfect segue into the next topic and the last topic of today, and that's just the KD rumors and where he might go, where he won't go. I know me and Pete have talked about it. I know Tyrese, you want to speak on it. So from your perspective, Tyrese, what do you think of the situation, and where do you think KD could go next year, or I guess this year?
Well, I don't know because it seems like they're trying to hold him hostage. I'm seeing reports to where they might even hold him until training camp. So, but I think he wants to play with a contending team. The only person I can really think of, man, who's done it is LeBron. Honestly, the Lakers just make so much sense. I know I see the Raptors floating around, but they're not going to make – if they get him, they're not going to be any better than how he was with the Brooklyn. I think he needs to get to L.A. I'm not sure if they'll do it, but I think he ends up in L.A. If I had to put money on the table, I think he ends up in L.A.
L.A., okay.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't think the Miami Heat can make a move?
No, because they already have a lot of young pieces, and they damn near almost got to the finals on limp. So I don't think they want to blow it up for one player like KD and just him and Jimmy Butler. I mean, Jimmy Butler's a great player, but he's not. He can't make other players around him better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think him to the Lakers just makes so much sense. But that's my take. I think he ends up in the Laker uniform.
Dang. Okay, so KD to the Lakers.
Yeah, I do. I do think so. And I think Kyrie's going to stay, at least for this year or maybe until the deadline, until they figure something out.
Yeah, I know that the Nets are not inclined to help out Kyrie Irving, so that'll be an interesting situation to look to see, does he go to a team where they're contending, or does he go to a team where they're struggling? And he's going to be the guy to kind of try to help him out. But what do you make of kind of the Brooklyn, like if they both leave, what do you think maybe not the legacy, but what do you think the history books will say about KD and Kyrie in Brooklyn? And what will history have for them?
Honestly, if you're talking about like 10 years down the road, they're still going to consider KD one of the greatest of all time just because of his game, So he won. I mean, I don't think they're going to separate it. They're going to try to debate it as much as LeBron went to Miami with D Wade, I think personally. But I don't think it's going to put any downfall, because that's the kind of game we live in today. Like superstars are teaming up with superstars. Great role players are teaming up with great teams like Andrew Wiggins did. So I don't think it'll tarnish his legacy. Now, if he went back to the Warriors, that would tarnish his legacy. But if he went somewhere like the Lakers somewhere, or Phoenix, I don't think so. And he won another championship, I don't think so. I guess if he somehow ended up on the Warriors, then yeah, that would.
I guess my question is more so like, do you think that they failed in Brooklyn, and who do you think is at fault for that failure? Do you think it is on the Brooklyn Nets organization, or do you think it's on KD and Kyrie in terms of what they had?
Well, I kind of think it kind of, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of down. It's coming down to the leadership because they're the ones who are making the calls, and I'm pretty sure. I just didn't. I find it weird how they didn't really upgrade around role players. Like they kept Blake Griffin for the whole 2-3 years. They didn't really
Mm-hmm.
upgrade, so they had the same kind of players. I think they were going the cheap route, and these two guys can take us to the finals. And
Mm-hmm.
it didn't work out like that. And I just think ownership got real cheap and they didn't want to spend. So they just kept getting
Yeah.
guys on vet minimums. So I think it's Brooklyn's fault, honestly. They could have easily got better role players or another third superstar. I understand they got Ben Simmons, but come on, Ben Simmons is damn near a role player now in his day and age. He has to prove himself. But Um, yeah, I think Brooklyn's at fault for that. I think they should have been got more role players or at least a true third superstar. Um, the 3 year span they were there together. Um,
I don't know. I mean,
but yeah,
they had that third superstar in James Harden, and they just decided to get rid of
yeah,
him.
yeah. But it's like that guy James Harden. He can't defend. Remember, like I say, like you need guys who they. If you don't have a lockdown defender or at least
Mm-hmm.
great role players, you're not going anywhere. It doesn't matter if you got three superstars, right? Like it doesn't matter. You got to have role players. You got to have guys who are defending and who are dogs. That's how we got far. Even though it was close, but we had guys who were defending, who were ruthless. They didn't care. They didn't care if they got in foul trouble. You need guys like that. They never had that. So those three guys they had who were so-called superstars, yeah, they can score 20, 25 points a game each or 21, 10, and 10. But it's not going to mean nothing because they can barely crack 100 points.
Mm-hmm.
And look what happened. They barely cracked 100 points most of these games. Or if they did, the other opponent had 120 or something because they have no defense. So, they got to get some better defenders, man, or try to trade for another wing or some. Try to get Paul George for Kyrie or something. They need a guy next to KD who can defend and who can score. Um, and if he wants out, the only guy I can think of that is maybe if they did like the Clippers did a swap or something, he went to with Kawhi, but he can. I don't know, man. The Clippers might be a dark horse too, though. That's a team I think that can unload a lot of assets and go all in for KD and see. I think Kawhi is going to come back healthy. Kawhi and I do recall KD saying he tweeted not too long ago, "This is a wings game." So I don't know if he's talking about Jimmy Butler or what,
Mm-hmm.
but I think he's or LeBron. I think he's thinking of those two teams. I think.
Yeah,
Um,
I think ultimately at the end of the day, I think the blame has to at least, for the most part, be on both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. With the Nets also being in blame, more so the Nets need to be blamed for allowing both KD and Kyrie to kind of run the organization.
yeah,
Um,
but look who they are, though. I mean, your average organization is going to let them run the show, right? Like, look at it from this perspective. If you were the owner of the Nets, right? To what's his name? Tsai, whatever his name is. If you were him, you're not going to say, "Hey, Kyrie, Katie, you can't do this," or "You can't." You're going to run them out of town. You're going to have them demand a trade. So superstars on that level, and they're making all that money. They're going to be able to run the show. You basically work for them
but I mean,
because with
at
the
the end of the day, though, like you look at the organization and where they're at right now, they were supposed to be a championship contender. They never got to that point ever in their tenure.
Mhm.
And you have Kyrie Irving being a part-time hooper. Like he never went to uh, being that guy that was like, okay, I'm gonna focus on basketball and do my own thing. And again, I'm never gonna hate on a person for if they have a new passion in life and they're like, hey, you know what?
Yeah,
I decided maybe I'm basketball. It's not really there for me. I want to do more social justice stuff. I want to be more, and that stuff. Like I'm okay with that. but at the same
Mhm.
time, you cannot, as both guys were kind of saying, oh, we don't need a head coach. We are the head coaches. And obviously Steve Nash kind of getting left
Yeah,
in the
and
dust at
that's a
that point.
problem.
And so
Hmm.
to me, like, I think both of those guys need to look at themselves in the mirror and realize the kind of the mess that they're going to leave behind once they decide to move on. And I'm sure the Nets want to move on. I know Sasai made a comment saying that he'd rather be 41-40 with a playing team trying to battle it in. And again, that's hindsight 2020. But at the same time, I'm not impressed with the way that both of those guys are deciding to leave with still. I mean, Kyrie Irving could have left. He could have declined his player option and decided to play it. Kevin Durant, has another year left. What disappoints me the most is that these guys with 1 year left on their deals, again, this kind of screams and shades of Ben Simmons and James Harden. Um, these guys need to accept that, hey, this is the mess that we made. We have to do the best we can. And if at the end of the day it doesn't work out and I'm a free agent, sorry about it. I'm heading out of there. And I just think that for me, the Brooklyn Nets are to blame for a good majority of it as well because they allowed that to happen. They never once. I think there was too many yes men's for Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, especially for Kyrie
Yeah,
Irving. Too many
and they
yes
knew
men.
that signing there. They knew that signing there with Tusai. They knew he was going to be a yes guy. They knew he was going to let him run the show. They never had any type of superstars on their caliber since we traded them Paul Pierce and Garnett when they were in their 30s, late 30s. So he's going to bow down to them. He's going to do anything they want. He's going to give them the private jet on the weekend if they wanted it. He's going to give them whatever because he doesn't want to run them out of town. But now that they're trying to run out of town, and he's trying to hold them hostage. So it's like they knew that signing there. They knew, hey, this is an organization that's they never won. They only
Mhm.
went to the finals in 2003 when they had Richard Jefferson in 2003, and they had some other guys like what's I forget their names, but you know what I'm saying. Back
Mhm.
then, so yeah, they knew that signing, man. And now it's like, damn, like it's not going anywhere. Now they have to try to get to an organization, but now it's a bad look for other teams who would look to acquire them. Yeah, they have talent, but if it's not gelling in the locker room, there's no point of me spending $44 million on you, right?
Mhm.
If we're just going to be going to a playing game.
Yeah. So
So yeah, a lot of teams are watching, and I think it's a lot of red flags for them too because they're like, yeah, he has 4 years, or Kyrie has 4 years, or he doesn't have 4 years, right? But
no, this he just signed a player option this year, I
yeah,
believe.
he signed a player option, but hey, he can want out, right? So if you're a small market team, you're not going to try to throw all your talent out because they're just going to leave me. So the only team I think that can really have the guts to do that and who kind of has a nuclear like guys who won is the Clippers, the Lakers. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's the only teams I can really see that'll pull the trigger on these type of guys
Yeah.
because they have the talent, but it's just personality issues. The Clippers, I think, would be great for KD because of Tyronn Lue. I
Mhm.
think he would be able to settle him down and not take everything to heart, and they can kind of go back and forth and challenge each other.
Yeah.
And then with Kawhi, I think that could be a great team too. With the Lakers' new head coach, I'm kind of iffy on that because he hasn't really head coached before. And yeah, like Ma took us there, but that's kind of rare, man. And he's dealing with high ego guys, so I'm not sure if he can really handle that. But I think Tyronn Lue could. But yeah, man, like I said, we'll see. But some just tells me that the Lakers are going to pull the trigger and they're just going to offload so many assets and they're going to go all in. And then they're probably going to sign guys like Lou Williams on vet minimum deals and other guys who are just sitting on the waiver like Harrell. He might return. Or did Harrell
Mhm.
sign? I'm not sure, but they're
Harold
going to get.
Harold's with the Hornets.
Oh, he resigned. Okay, but they're going to get other guys who are on the waivers and guys like Lou Will and other guys to try to get a championship. I think KD is the only how LeBron can get another championship. I don't think Kyrie can get him there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see like how the Nets decide to battle this offseason in terms of like, do they move Kyrie to a bad team, and what do they do with Ben Simmons now? Obviously, as kind of like the third guy that you brought in. We'll see what his role will be for the
They might
Nets.
unload everything. They might just clean the house because
But
I
they got rid of their
seen,
first round pick for Royce O'Neal, who they traded and just got.
yeah, and I seen Ben Simmons what he deactivated his Instagram or Twitter. I think it was his Instagram. He's probably going to be there. I think he's to side whatever his name. He's going to offload, man, because even if you do keep Ben, you're just going to be in the lottery. So you might as well ship all these guys out, get great young talent, and develop. It makes no sense of having been there if those two are gone, right? It makes no sense. I
Yeah,
think all these guys are gone. They're going to offload all these guys. I think they're just trying to get a lot of assets and really milk this thing because you got Katie on a 4-year deal. That's a steal because he's locked in. So if you're the Lakers, man, you can have him the next 4 years, even if LeBron retires and he plays like a little Tim Duncan role at 40, 41,
yeah,
and KD's 36, 37, still in his prime. I think the Lakers are going to pull the trigger. I do.
yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think they're going to go after. I think they're going to acquire him and trade Russell and
Mm.
some other pieces.
Yeah, and we'll find out in the near future what entails for these guys. But people in the comment section, let us know in the comments down below. Who do you guys think should trade for Kevin Durant? Who will trade for Kyrie Irving? Do you think the Lakers are the best front runners to get both those guys? Let us know in the comment section down below. And I think we're gonna end it there, Tyrese. Great stream as always with you. We're definitely gonna have to come back on and talk a little bit more about some basketball, especially for the Celtics, and talk about
Yeah.
um, you know, maybe even the Celtics being a trade destination for Kevin Durant. But
Hey,
we'll find out in a
him and
later
Jalen
stream.
Brown would be very well together. I'll tell you that
So we'll see here. So let's see
if it
here.
did come to that.
Okay, let's read one more comment, then we'll sign out. OKC could win the championship next year if they wanted to. 10 firsts for KD and Kyrie straight up. They would need to trade players. They would need to trade players to have that
Wait, he
happen.
said 10 first for who?
KD and Kyrie.
The Lakers?
No, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
The Oklahoma City Thunder aren't getting back KD. They're sitting pat right now, man. They got Chet. They have so many other guys. Like
Yeah, they want the youth
KD
movement.
was something. Yeah, KD was something in the past. You know, he did well for their city and community, but they're not doing that. The only team that's really going to offload, man, I'm telling you, is the Lakers because LeBron's time is limited right now.
Yeah,
He's almost 40. So
exactly. So again, people, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of it? Like I said, Tyrese, again, love the show, doing it with you.
yeah,
It's awesome to do. And so
awesome, man.
we'll continue to kind of live stream a little bit later on down the line. We'll keep people updated on that. But again, guys, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Again, those three things is what's going to help the algorithm say, hey, you should subscribe to the Charge. You should continue to watch them. And again, listen to Tyrese as he's a Nostradamus on who's going to win the NBA championship in the near future. So again, I do love talking with everybody here on the channel, but it is that time of day where we do have to sign off. Appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Again, please remember to hit those three things: like, share, and subscribe button. That gets us more algorithm looks, and we'll catch everybody